Welcome back to the channel, guys. Great to see you. Do not forget to hit the subscribe and the bell notification icon to get notified of more future videos. And if you like detailing product comparisons, or you want to learn how to detail your car, come and join us on the private Patreon community where you can get direct access to me for asking any detail questions or other tiering like monthly contests and all that sort of other stuff. Let's get stuck into this review now. So, ceramic detail sprays. Let's go through the lineup. First of all, the relatively new Gyeon ceramic detailer from Gyeon out in Korea. Next up, the Adams graphene detail sprays. Okay, I'll raise your SiO2 and I'll give you graphene. So we've got one oddball graphene in there. I thought it'd be interesting to compare it, the latest cutting edge material with its predecessor, the SiO2. Next up, In2detailing's own brand Kwartz by In2detailing. This is their Kwartz quick detailer, but it's SiO2 based, I believe. Next, we have the Garage Therpy /2 Sigma, which is like described as Sigma is a hybrid spray sealant and detailer infused with the latest SiO2 raw materials. Okay, so it's SiO2 and Infinity Wax, makers of the very popular RDS detail spray, which did well in one of my comparison tests. I wanted to see what their ceramic product was like. So this is Infinity Wax QDX ceramic detailing spray. That's the lineup. Let's get straight into the testing. So first test, prices. So here's all the different size offerings, and typically there's three sizes like 500ml, 1000ml and 5000ml. When you see a line, it means there's no offering there. So one thing to take away from this board is Gyeon do not have an offering, the information I've been given, of bulk. It just doesn't exist, so the biggest you can get is 1 litre. And Adams don't have a 1 litre middle ground offering. The In2detailing, Garage Therpy and Infinity Wax sell you 500, 1000 and 5000, which is a good range. Okay, the next thing I want to draw your attention to is this price here, which is the converted price for 500ml. So it's the smallest size offering. And look at the value for money here. So really, in first place with the value for money is In2detailing at $9.95, so I'm going to give them 5 points. In second place with the smallest value is the Gyeon, so it's $9.50 for 400ml, which works out at $11.86 for 500. So they pick up a 4. So I said before, Gyeon products are not always expensive. It's quite impressive that they're cheaper than these other ones. In third place for $12.99 is the Infinity Wax, so that picks up 3. And then in second place, £14.50 for 500ml. Is the Garage Therpy, so we give it 2 marks there. And the most expensive product here, the graphene product, and the product that's got to be imported in from America, which probably adds a cost and import tax, is the Adams product. So that gets the least amount of marks in this particular smallest retail size offering. Now what I want to do is look at which ones are cheaper on the bulk and see if there's any other things I need to draw your attention to. Okay, so I'm back and I've added here the price, the scaled price of 5000 millilitres or 5 litres. So the most expensive bulk product here is the Gyeon, because you can only get it in 1 litre. If you want 5 litres of it, you've got to pay £87.50, which is, it's quite expensive, isn't it? So that gets 1 mark. The next most expensive one is the Infinity Wax, which really, really surprises me because their products are usually always quite affordable, and the 500ml price is good. It starts going up a bit, 20 quid for 1000ml, which is not great but not bad. But then its 5 litre price is huge, so that's an expensive product to buy in bulk. The next one is the Adams graphene. So the graphene is only in mid-table basically, which is interesting, isn't it? Because you'd think you'd pay more for the graphene. Now, there's a massive jump up now between the next 2 products. The In2detailing, 5 litres of it, are £46.95. So that's really good value, a massive jump up. Literally a saving of 25 quid, which is quite a large percentage. And then the cheapest bulk one is the Garage Therpy at £44.95. So that picks up 5 marks here. Interestingly enough, so the Garage Therpy is quite expensive at 500ml. It's the second most expensive. It's really expensive at 1000ml. So Infinity Wax, 20 quid for 1000ml. In2detailing, 17.95 for 1000ml. Gyeon, £17.50 for 1,000ml, but Garage Therapy £26.50 for 1,000ml. So I'm thinking this product's going to scale up and become even more expensive, maybe 80 quid for 5 litres, but the bulk price is suddenly heavily discounted. So that's why looking at prices in these reviews is very important. Now let's just add up the marks. So overall, Gyeon picks up a value for money of 5 out of 10, which is kind of somewhere in the middle. Adams picks up a 4 out of 10, just below average. I've talked about why it might be a bit more expensive already. The In2detailing, 9 out of 10. Cheapest at small offering, second cheapest at bulk offering, only a couple of quid short. So that's the value one, isn't it? Garage Therapy, 7 out of 10 for value overall. Very cheap at bulk price, but quite pricey at small bottle price. And Infinity Wax, 5, so that's kind of like average. Decent price at smaller offerings, but very expensive at bulk offering, which is a little bit unusual. So those are our marks out of 10 for value for money. And the point of doing this test, if you're only interested in value for money, you're not too worried about any performance differences, then you're going to buy the In2detailing Kwartz SiO2 product, because overall it offers you the most value. Next up, guys, I don't always do this, but I'm going to do a little bonus section on presentation. Okay, and there's only 3 marks up for grabs here rather than loads, so this is not very influential, but it's about desirability, about presentation effort. And I think I'm going to give the 3 marks, the top marks, to the Gyeon ceramic detailer. I just like these bespoke bottles. I don't see anybody else using these bottles. The labelling's nice and the trigger matches the bottle, and it's the most beautiful presented product in this test, so it gets 3. These 3 products I think are absolutely fine. They're just not quite as good as the Gyeon. They're more standard kind of bottles. They're all high quality triggers and sprayers. I'm not sure if that's the original Infinity trigger, but they do good triggers. I checked their website. You know, these ones have got nice kind of matte labels on them. This has got a clear through one. They're just not quite as good. There's a little gap that I've talked about before on the on the Sigma with the sheathing of the bottle. The Adams one's a bit black and white, and these bottles that Infinity are using are quite standard. But these are, I'd be pretty proud if this was my brand and I produced labelling and packaging like this. It's good. It's a good effort. The In2detailing one only gets 1 mark. They're using nice quality labelling, but the bottles are cheaper. They feel thinner. Like, you know, you can't see through them. And the triggers, you know, they're good triggers, don't get me wrong, but they just don't look right with the white trigger and the black bottle. You know, so they're not, it's that 1 point there, 2 point for these, 3 point for those. You get the idea. Next up, hydrophobicity. So if you like beading, if you like rapid water repellency, hurling the water off, the jelly bean effect, all that sort of stuff. I've talked about it loads. Hydrophobicity. Not everyone likes it. Okay, in last place is the In2detailing product. I'll give it a score of 2 out of 5. It's repellent, but it's not ultra repellent. It speaks for itself. The Sigma product, 2.5 out of 5, average water repellency. You're not going to buy the Sigma product if you want really juicy pert beads and rapid water repellency. Now after that, very hard to tell the difference, but I would give the Infinity Wax QDX and the Adams Graphene spray marks of 3 out of 5 on hydrophobicity, where they have a decent level of repellency, but again, nothing to write home about. You know, we've looked at some very hydrophobic products over the years on this channel. I've seen it all. And these are just sort of above average, I would say. The most hydrophobic product in this test is the Gyeon ceramic detailer spray. It was the one that stood out to me. I can see the very fast repellency when I'm sheeting, doing water sheet testing. You know, it's flicking it down the panel, and the beadings are a lot pert, and you know, higher angles are more uniform and round. So that is the winner of the hydrophobicity test. So I gave that a 5 out of 5. That's pretty much as good as it gets, really. It's very, very hydrophobic. So that's the hydrophobicity. Next up, durability testing, guys. So I put all these products on the test panel. We've put a layer of Surfex HD at 10:1, which is what I use to clean exterior parts of my car. And we've just laid it on with our detailing brush, and we've left it. Instead of doing wave after wave and me getting soaking wet feet, filming time lapses all day long, I put the material on there, the chemical, went and picked up my daughter from school, and left it on there for about 45 minutes and rinsed it off when I get back, which is a long time to leave a strong alkaline on detail sprays. And the results were as follows. The one affected the most, I think, is, and I'll overlay your shots, is the In2detailing Kwartz. After that, I believe it's the Garage Therapy Sigma. After that, I believe it's the Adams Graphene spray. And then after that, in second place, is the Wax QDX, which was still going decently. And the one that's buzzing the most, usually always the hydrophobic one, isn't it, was the Gyeon ceramic detailer. So that seemed to be, that did the best in this kind of, you know, detergent resistance test, if you like. Next up, application. Now we are reviewing ceramic detailers, okay, and graphene detailers. The word though, the key word is quick detailers, isn't it? These are supposed to be products which you can use rapidly to tidy up car panels. So that's an important premise that's going on in my head. Now the good news is when you actually use these on cars, I find all 5 of these products non-streaky and easy to lay out and apply, okay? That's the good news. But I've gone through all of the instructions and considerations with these products, whether or not, all the questions I have, whether I can use them on different surfaces. Can I use them as drying aids? Because I want to be able to do that as a detail spray. Can I just use them rapidly, or do I have to leave them on the panels and stuff like that? Because that's not good for me as a detail spray. Right. Now, the product I'm going to put in first place with application, how you use it as a detail spray, is the Gyeon ceramic detailer. Now the instructions on this are quite basic. It just says use on a clean surface, okay? And that's the first concern I've raised with this, because a lot of people take quick detailers to shows and stuff like that, and their cars might have a bit of dust on them and they don't want to do a full wash because they're almost clean, and they'll use a quick detailer to spray on the dust and just clean out the panels, and the detailer will provide some lubrication and stop you scratching your panel. So Gyeon say do not use it, you know, only use it on a clean surface. So that's a negative for me because, like I say, it's a quick detailer function. The instructions just say to spray on and wipe. They don't talk about, most of these other products say to spray on, spread with an applicator or 1 microfiber and flip the cloth or get a separate cloth. Gyeon just say on the directions to spray on and wipe. They say you can use it wet or dry, which is great. They do not tell you whether or not you can use it on glass or trim, which they should really be specifying, and they don't mention if it's safe to use in the sun or not. Okay, so there's gaps in their instructions that are on the label. I'm not counting if they've got websites or videos with that information, it's the label. But overall, this is my favourite of the products to apply, and I can put it on very quickly, and I feel a nice slickness when I'm buffing it out instantly. So I've actually given that a 9 out of 10 on application. Now next up, there was 2 after this. Now the Adams product, I've given an 8 out of 10. Adams always get their instructions pretty good. They're experienced, they've been around the block, they know the questions that get asked. Now first of all, they answer the question, they say it's safe on all surfaces, which means I can use it on glass, plastic trim, all surfaces of a car. They don't say car, but they say all surfaces, I think. So that's fine. You can use it in direct sunlight, but you have to work fast. Great. That's useful information. I want that on the label. Now, one thing, you know, we're trying to criticise the products here. They say as well you can use this graphene as a clay lube. You know, the problem with it is, if you read the instructions of the Adams product, it says it contains the same resins that they use in their ceramic spray. So if you're doing a decontamination and you're claying your car, you're trying to remove contamination and the remnants of any old protection. So using a clay lube, that is a graphene-based one that contains, you know, some forms of resin that their ceramic spray use is not a good idea, because you're going to be laying protection down on the panels when you're trying to get it off. And the product costs £15. So I think Adams would just be better off to say, you know, this is a graphene detail spray, use it sparingly, get your money's worth, and if you want a clay lube, use our waterless wash. Maybe I'm being picky here, but I just don't like the idea of laying resins down when you're claying. They do tell you that you can use the product wet, and I've made the note, which is great, and I've made the note here, very, very good instructions. The product is really, really easy to use. you know, just really nice to buff and nice to lay out, and I didn't have any problems with streaking, so a very solid 8 out of 10. Next up, into detailing. Well, on the flip side, there's a lot of information missing on the instructions here. It doesn't tell me if it's safe on glass or trim, and it doesn't tell me if it's sun safe. It does say, though, that you can use it as a drying aid, which is great because I want to know that. And it does say that I think it's safe on... Oh no, it doesn't tell me about glass or trim, sorry. So it's quite simple instructions. It doesn't have any cure time as well, so it's a spray on, buff off. So even though it was simple, most of the things have been answered and I can use it how I want to. And I've given it an 8 out of 10. It works great as a drying aid, and it works great as a just a normal kind of detail spray, which is important to me. Now, next up, the what's this? This is the Garage Therapy Sigma. I've given this a 7 out of 10. It says it's not heat friendly, which is good. So I'm implying, let me get the bottle because this is important. I'm implying that you shouldn't use it in the heat if it says that. Where does it say? Avoid applying on hot panel surfaces. Well, I appreciate them telling me that, but I do want a detail spray that I can use on hot panels. That is important to me. There's duplicate instructions on there. There's just a standard set of instructions which are absolutely fine. Tell you how to use the product, shake it well, spray it onto your applicator, spread it, you know, allow it to cure for 30, 60 seconds, flip and buff, you know, fine. And then you've got a second set of instructions for best results, which is telling you to wash the car first. And then it says, you know, I won't go through that, but there's 2 sets of instructions almost, and that just threw me. It doesn't tell me if I can use the product wet, which is a question I have. In its best results, it says you can wash the car first, but it doesn't say if I'm... It still doesn't answer the question if I can use it wet or dry, and I'm assuming you probably can use it wet, but maybe you don't want to. Do I have to dry the car for best results, is what I said. It doesn't tell me if I can use it on glass and plastics. Yeah, prime the face, spray directly. Well, it says spray directly onto the paint, so you could, if you follow it to the letter, the fact it doesn't tell you it's safe for glass and it's telling you to spray out onto the paint, that suggests it's a paintwork only product. So maybe that, I'll cross that out, that's not a criticism. The next thing, it has a 30 to 60 second cure time on the panel. So you spread it over your panel and you just leave it, you pause. I don't want a detail spray to have any cure time. I just want to use them very, very rapidly. Spray sealant, yes. Now it does say on the label, Sigma is a hybrid spray sealant and detailer infused. So it's almost a cross between a detailer and a sealant. It's like a dressing almost, isn't it? Like an SiO2 dressing. But if you want a quick detailer that you can just spray and buff, then that cure time is going to slow you down a little bit when you've got to do an entire car. So that's a factor. Next up, the Infinity Wax product. Now, there's some issues. Let me grab the bottle of this as well. Just some issues around some of the wording here, guys, and you can accuse me of nitpicking or whatever, but this is what we've got to do when we review these things. Now, the first thing is I read these instructions and they're useful to me. It says, apply QDX to a clean, dry paintwork only. Great. So no glass, no trim, paintwork only. Brilliant. We recommend full decontamination. We recommend full decontaminating your paint before application. That shocked me reading that. This is a detail spray. So Infinity Wax are recommending before you use your detail spray, you have to decontaminate the car. They've not thought that through. Okay. I want to use this without decontaminating my car. You can never advise someone, you can never recommend you decontaminate a car because Infinity Wax don't know if the car that their product's being used on needs decontaminating. I just think that's overcomplicating it, even mentioning decontaminating. And it says, as well as we recommend full decontaminating your paint before application, including removal of any previous waxes. So I can't apply that detail spray without removing previous protections. Well, that's not what a detailer spray is for, guys. you should be able to spray it on top of products, and they're recommending you do not use this product unless you clay and remove previous LSPs. That is a showstopper for me. Might not be a showstopper for you. I suspect they just haven't thought about the wording of this, but I would remove that because that's a problem for me. Now, I like the fact they tell you not to use it in sunlight, I believe. I made a note of that somewhere. Yeah, do not apply QDX in direct sunlight. Okay, fine. Do not allow it to dry on your vehicle. Okay, fine. Here's the other problem. After you spray it onto the panel, one panel at a time, spread using a soft foam pad or ceramic applicator. Allow 3 to 10 minutes to cure. A detail spray, I do not want to wait up to 10 minutes for a detail spray to sit on a panel. Ceramic spray sealant, yes, but not a detailing spray. So there's some problems with this product in terms of, I bet the product's fine, but I don't think a detail spray should have a 10-minute cure time. That's a spray wax to me. Some people will think I'm splitting the atom with how I'm analysing this, but it's not. It's quite simple. I use a QD predominantly to tidy up my panels, and I need to be able to spray it on and buff those panels. You know, I don't mind waiting 10 minutes for a paste wax to cure, but detail spray, no. So there we go. I also don't know if I can use this product as a drying aid. I don't think it says. It says QDX can also be sprayed and wiped clean using a microfiber towel. Does that mean during the drying process though? Does that mean on a wet car? Because it doesn't say that, like a conventional detailer spray. So they should just tidy up the wording there. Are they implying that that can be used as a drying aid? Next up, guys, Slickness. Now, SiO2 sprays, one of the things that lots of people notice about them is how slick they are. And graphene sprays as well, ironically. They claim they're even slicker. So I was interested in this test. Now, if I had to guess which ones of the products felt the slickest to the back of my hand in the microfiber, I would have said it was the Adams graphene spray and the Gyeon ceramic spray. They felt just a little bit skiddier. Now, we did the tilt table test, and those tests, I try using the sponges and I try using the microfiber applicators. Overall, the one that showed the lowest friction on those tests was the Adams, and then after that, it was the Gyeon. So the ones, and it's often the case, I've said this before in tests, the ones that I think feel the slickest tend to do well. But there's not much in it, I'll give you that much. The next two were the Garage Therpy and the Infinity Wax. It's very hard to separate them when you're doing the tilt tests, and very hard to separate them when you're rubbing the microfiber over them. They both felt pretty damn good to me. And the In2detailing one was always the last one to slide down the panel. So there seems to be a slightly higher friction with that one. So very close with all of these. If you were here doing this testing with me, you'd think, well, it's quite harsh to separate them on this, but if you don't attempt to separate them on these sorts of things, you're going to have no meaningful ways of comparing the test, and you can just pick any product any time. So that's why we put these products through this test thing. So quite funny as well that the graphene, you know, we are all in this state of agnostic, waiting to see if the graphene really is going to give you something. If it does, it's only ever going to be tiny. But from all of the graphene products I've tested now, and I'm up to about 4 or 5, they do seem really, really slick. So that's just one thing that I've observed. So that's the slickness marks. Let's move on to the next test. Next up, gloss testing, guys. So as always, we prep our panel, we polish it, we degrease it. We take some sanity check readings to make sure we got a consistent, within a couple of units of gloss, you're never going to get much tighter than that, over the panel. Then we apply our products. We take 5 readings off each section, and I'm simply going to rank these on the 20-degree gloss and just keep it really, really simple. I will say there's not much significant difference. There never really is with gloss on these products. So the Infinity Wax measured 92.1, which was the lowest 20-degree gloss, average on 5 readings. After that, it was the Adams with 93.0. Then it was these two, In2detailing Garage Therpy, 93.1, 1.1 of a unit different. And then Gyeon with 93.2. So I've done 5 marks for those, 4 marks for those, 3 for that one, 2 for that one. There's haze readings there as well, and R-spec. I could start trying to factor those in. It gets very complicated. So yeah, that's the gloss testing, guys. You can take that with a little bit of a pinch of salt. I don't know, it's influencing the results, isn't it? Because I'm giving out marks, but essentially these products will put a shine on your car and make them look decent. The worse the car is, the better they'll make it look. You'll probably be happy with the results. I've said a lot of things about gloss on the channel, which are true, because this is an instrument that measures gloss, you know, and I'm just giving you the data. So we talk about the fact that these products can't do much when your paintwork's already good, which is true, but it kind of gives the impression that there's limited value to them. Maybe you can argue, you can make that case, but we all want a detail spray on the shelves, don't we? So yeah, you know, I think with detail sprays, it's important how they are to use and all that sort of stuff. This gloss testing is not massively important, but we've talked about that before. So those are the results. Okay, with the winner, guys, we go through and add up all the points. Now the winner looks like the Gyeon, 10, 20, 27, add 9, 36 points. It's pulled a bit of a gap on all of the other products. The only thing it did badly on is the value for money overall. Apart from that, it's hydrophobic, it's slick, it's really nice to work with, it beads, it's probably the one that's done everything well. The value's not too bad, so it's probably my favourite as well. If you had to say, John, which one of these could you only use for the rest of your life as a quick detailer spray, I think I would go for the Gyeon quick ceramic detailer. Now these other products, John, look at these points, they're well down. Are they rubbish? They're useless. The Infinity Wax only got 25. They've got the least amount of points. It must be rubbish. No. Everything's subjective. All of the products that are in this test are from brands that I like, and they're in these tests for a reason. You guys tell me you want to see them as well. What does the Infinity Wax ceramic do well? Well, I think it's quite durable. It did well on the detergent resistance. Decent amount of hydrophobicity from it. The price is the thing that really got me with it, because I was expecting Infinity Wax to be a lot more competitive with its bulk price. Its small price was good. And there's those issues around the instructions were a bit, you know, they cost it a couple of marks on the application. But overall the product is fine. The biggest thing with this product actually that should come out of the review is the fact it's got a 3 to 10 minute cure time for what is marketed as a detailing spray. So that's perhaps its Achilles heel. The Garage Therapy product, the cool thing about the Garage Therapy product is the bulk price, you know, £44. It's the cheapest bulk price in this test. So that's a great thing. It's a nice slick product, nice glossy product. It's like a dressing, isn't it? Almost like more than a detail spray. It's like an SiO2 dressing. The In2detailing product, you would buy this because of the value for money. You could try it, and it's significantly cheaper than most of the other products. The bulk price is nearly as good as the Garage Therapy, not quite. It's not quite as hydrophobic, and it's not quite as durable as some of those other products. So there is a little bit of trade-off. There's not much in it. You're not really, unless you're really side by side siding them, going to notice this. So it's a good offering from In2detailing. And I think Imran, as I've said before, it's the right way to go, isn't it, to offer something, you know, a little bit more affordable, because he sells all of these other products as well anyway. So that's a good thing. The Adams product, the main place where it's lost marks is that value for money. The graphene products are expensive. But apart from that, it's decent. It just might be, detail sprays for me are quite casual things. So like the graphene might be better as like a spray sealant, where, you know, you feel like you're getting your value for money more with the graphene. When you're using a graphene detailer, do you need the graphene in a detailer? That's what I want to kind of think about. What's the cool thing about the graphene spray? It's not streaky, and it's probably the slickest of all of these from the testing that I can do. So it's a cool thing, and quite simply as well, if you want to try graphene, well, the reality is you're going to pay 15 quid to try the graphene detail spray. You're going to pay 13 quid to try this silica one. You know, you're going to try 14 quid, 50 or whatever this Garage Therapy one costs. So really, the difference in price, if you're just buying a bottle of product, that's another positive. That really, that graphene thing doesn't always have to be mega expensive. So Adams, I think, have done a good thing by giving it to you at you know, fairly sensible price tag. So give it a whirl if you want to try graphene. The overall winner for me, guys, is the Gyeon product. Just like I said earlier on, it does everything well. So that is the test. Let me know your thoughts on this particular one. Let me know if you've used any of these products. This is probably about the 30th round of silica spray testing that I've done now. Still waiting to find a bad product. There must be one out there. But yeah, this was interesting. Take care, guys, and I'll see you soon on the Forensics Detailing channel. Bye for now.
Holding on to what I knew, but the moment's gone. Where was I when